I'm feeling real original with this one. Deinocheirus is an ornithomimosaur, making some of its closest relatives Gallimimus and Struthi, though this guy wasn't a sprinter like its more speedy cousins. It was discovered in 1965, and all they found initially were a pair of arms. So of course its name means terrible hand. They also hadn't figured out how weird it was until 2014. That's why if you happen to come across any Deinocheirus pictures prior to 2014, it resembled its more closer relatives. You know, kind of like a slut fighting Struthi. At least until it was upgraded to a hunchback duck. They did mostly eat only plant materials and fish. But one of the other really interesting facts is that Deinocheirus' tail was most likely feathered, as it ends in a pygostyle, just like modern birds. And a pygostyle is a fusing of the last few vertebrae in the tailbone that allow muscle and movements of a fan of tail feathers. And since that was an adaptation that began around the Cretaceous, just like our duck, it tracks. And now back to our little yellow duck boy. He's a boy because I forgot to click over. Sometimes it works out because the feathers are prettier. I saw an offer for some duck eggs on official servers, and I thought, why not? I don't have a duck, and surely life will be so much easier with parents, wouldn't it? And just like that, me and my brother are now orphans. We wait for a while, hoping against hope that our parent will return. But they don't. Eventually, even the nest despawns, and we have to face the fact that our parental unit has been yeeted into another dimension. We make the first stop the home cave and then decide where to go from there. For reasons I can no longer remember, we decide to go to Green Valley. Ouch. We take the long, scenic, watery route, which is much safer as a little duck. Well, most of the time. But luckily for us, this Meg wasn't interested in a couple of baby ducks. But despite one good chance encounter, the world still sounded pretty dangerous. The quicker we can get to water, the better for us. As long as it's not filled to the brim with gators, I guess. Luckily for us, the only resident gator decided to evict himself before we could become a nuisance. Or edible. Me and my duck brother hear what we think at first is like the tail slam of an anno, but we feel pretty safe in our pond. What we initially thought was an anno actually turned out to be a fairly frustrated Spino, mad at that critter. And luckily he never bothered us. We'd seen him around. It took me a whole lot of flowers to realize my brother was in trouble. Originally, I wasn't too keen on trying to chase an Achillo all over the place, since you may remember I'm not exactly built for speed. Then I heard his little leg bone snap, and I thought, why not? Well, apparently, an Achillo with a shattered femur is still faster than a duck. Eventually, we do have to admit that a couple of ducks trying to catch an Achillo is probably the definition of futility. And eventually, the little Achillo stops trying to attack us and just goes about his business. And we start doing the same, just kind of ignoring him when he shows up. As long as he doesn't mess with us, we're fine. Besides, we have bigger stumps to be concerned about. But luckily the Pycno doesn't look interested in a couple of ducks either. And then we discover a fresh potato. And while I originally had my doubts about the compatibility of a duck and potato on anything other than a plate, I couldn't pass this up. That thing is too freaking adorable. Hearing the approaching thuds of a couple of Deinocheirus, we do the obvious best thing and hide in this bush and decide to just wait for them to pass by. But apparently this little Deinocheirus wasn't happy that we were about to get away with it. And just like that, somehow, I'm still alive. And in fact, all three of us survived, even the little potato. Of course, I have to hide in the bushes for quite a long while to heal up, and just kind of hope that nothing finds me in my very vulnerable stage. Eventually, we head out to go get our potato, but he's so secure we can't even get to him. That dang traitorous chicken's still around, though. But luckily he doesn't cause any more problems. Probably knows he can't handle 3 babies on his own. Eventually we decide that it's time to hightail it out of there and head on to the next location. And for a bunch of little land duck babies, we make it to our next destination just fine. Personally, I'm happy to see some water again. We even come across a whole entire stego family and some herby sidekicks. Nice. Love it when you gotta encounter some herbs in the wild. It can come in really handy when you encounter those baby-eaten megs. There was so much sounds of chaos all around us, I couldn't tell what was meg and what wasn't. Of course I have to go check it out. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. And also me trying not to trip over every herd member. That's not the meg, that's just some random aloe. My duck brother had to lull. So of course we try to keep him safe. Not a place I would have chosen to log myself. My duck already has a bit of chicken bias. This isn't helping. Dang fluffy nuisances. At least we can enjoy the satisfying squeaks as the Campto chews on the little chicken. Trying to enjoy my natural environment, it puts me out of touch with the chaos above. At least I felt like I was zooming for a second. Unfortunately, it was all fun and games until the chicken ran up ahead, where 3 Achilles were waiting. It was about then we decided to go ahead and retreat. Back on land, I was just minding my business. This is one of those moments where you realize you can't run from your problems. Oh my god, where are you guys going? I'm all exposed and gross. Well, at least I blended the foliage a little better. I don't know if my camouflage is working real good. Oh no, my poor Campto Guardian. I try to stick as close to the front, non-pointy part of the stego as possible, because I'm really just a couple nibbles away from death at this point. Eventually I decide that there's a point where I really should break with the stegos so that maybe they'll lure the meg away from me, and I can use the bushes to my advantage. And after not hearing the meg for a while, I figured my gamble was worth it. In my opinion, Salt Flats is pretty much just like IC or Grand Plains, but, you know, like part 2. So I could either wind up with a trophy or murdered, and there's not exactly a good watery escape here, but the vibes are nice. Yeah, definitely. Good vibes all around. And heck, I might as well get that Waystone quest out of the way. And after such a long and adventurous first day, I decide that's enough ducking around for now. So I head off to the home cave. I decided to embrace my watery duck side. It was already in the build, so why not? For most of my growing time, I tried to stay as close to water as possible. As we all know, the land's a very dangerous place for a duck. Though less dangerous now, if you're specced right, which I am not. As a mostly water build, I can enjoy my rainy days. They did come back and chat and kind of poke fun of themselves a little bit. I said, GG. It happens to the best of us. Oh, what a silly fight. So one day, I'm walking around, and I look on the ground, and I swear, it looks just like a Meg. And I think to myself, oops, that wasn't a Meg. I didn't realize I just murdered a baby. That's okay. I thought it was a grown Meg. Thought it could have taken a slap or two. Either way, let that be a lesson. Don't just log out. That gator gives me an idea. A nest should just be what we need to get to adulthood. I went to go see what flavor the soup bowl of carnage was, and these guys were making Impact Crater look like absolute child's play. And to be perfectly honest, this bowl was mild as could be until I decided to slap a Spino and it escalated. A few days later, somebody's asking in Global if anybody has any available duck eggs. I do. I'm trying to figure out if I'm in the mood. Eventually, I decide I really don't have anything better planned right now. Why not? So I go ahead and adopt one duck. Duck 2 didn't work out so well. And while trying to figure out what to do with this absolutely cursed child of mine, we're gonna listen to Happy Birthday being sung backwards. Eventually, though, the situation resolves itself. And just like my parents before me, my offspring is yeeted into an alternate dimension. There's not much else I can do. I figured even if this kid is adopted, I'm still gonna parent and show the ropes, or the waterways, or whatever ducks show their kids. I showed them all sorts of things, like cactus is a succulent. Pick it. I show them alpha critters are very serious and shouldn't be taken lightly. Frickin' alpha critter almost orphaned my kid. I have a suggestion for the next nerf. It's not the duck. I found another duck and I tried to adopt it. But apparently they didn't think that the beat-up duck sitting in the puddle of murky water was like a good role model or something. It's fine, we didn't take it personally. I really wish these guys had killed themselves before drinking all the water. It's not like they need it now. And they didn't even drop a trophy. Hunters think it always feels like a roll of the dice. There's either a huge herd out here babysitting, or there's a huge herd just out here KOSing. Or pack, or mix pack, or mega pack, whatever.
Bum bum bum, ba-dum ba-dum. A duck walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, "Hey, bum bum bum, got any grapes?"
I did have to help my poor lost duckling figure out where the waystone was. We get them escorted up to the waystone, and then we come down the other side to find a dinosaur that had either A, decided to just randomly drop dead in the field, B, run across a roving band of ducks that are just out to murder anything that's not a duck, or maybe an alpha critter. Those suckers are tough too. But whatever the reason, it had a trophy. And after explaining how trophies work to my little one, we head to the home cave. A free trophy, a bunch of exploration quests was really giving my little duckling a growth spurt. 4 hours of straight grinding, one nest later, and my little tiny juvie duckling is almost an adult. Pretty impressive. The sun comes up on our last day together. No more than 10 minutes before the server resets. The picno might not have meant anything by it, but he got a little too close. And I didn't feel like taking that chance. Even with near zero duck skills, well, they still didn't really manage to do anything while taking quite a bit of damage themselves. Duck's still pretty skilled even in incompetent hands like myself. Alright, now right here you gotta let me explain myself a little bit. I was sitting on my nest trying to change my skills when this gator and his baby decides to just jump me on the nest. After ignoring me for a while, me ignoring them, I was completely land-specced. Wasn't really recording it, so that's pretty much what this whole scene is. But let me tell you my final thoughts on duck. I did try a water duck, I tried a land duck, and I don't know if it's because I play a Mirror Gaia that's also kind of water. You know, I play the mud one, and I just didn't like the idea of having another playable that also required being aware of the weather, because land duck gets pretty nerfed in the rain. Great though, I mean, it cuts through T-Rexes like butter. But I at the end of the day, I liked water duck. I did switch it out, the water spout, for the goose, the angry goose. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So that's pretty much what happened there. I also feel like almost everybody was playing land duck, and if I happen to pop out when it's raining, then I feel like I have a slight advantage. Or if I escape in the water, I have an advantage against land ducks, which are, ouch, they're kind of meta, I'm not gonna lie. But I just enjoyed the water. I like the speed. I like the tankiness of it. That's just kind of where, at the end of the day, that's just kind of where I settled on for my personal preference, but I'm not really mowing anybody down. I will say that the one thing that surprised me is that I was able to swim down a whole entire gator with my land spec duck. I was not expecting that. That's a little too OP. Well, either way, I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed playing duck. I've honestly enjoyed most of these Apexes. I know I gave T-Rex a bit of crap, but that was fun too. But I do have to admit, I think I'm going to take a little bit of an Apex break for now and let's go back and revisit some mid-tiers and see how I feel. I miss my speedy little guys. Alright, that's all I've got for now. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!